We're live. We're live. We are tired, but we are live. So I am going to wait a few seconds to start this. Anyway, I am Nicole Johnson-Yan. I am a reporter based in Jerusalem, and I am happy to bring you the updates of what is happening here in the Middle East, because on a daily basis, it's a lot. So, and today is no exception. Today was actually El-Quds Day in Jerusalem. El Quds is Jerusalem. It was El-Quds Day in Tehran, or in Iran. But in Tehran, the capital, there were thousands of protesters or thousands of people out there marching, including the president made an appearance, and Larijani. I don't know what his position is, but he's apparently like one of the top leaders right now in Iran, and they actually went out into the streets at the same time as there were thousands of Iranians out there in this demonstration for, it's like a march. It's solidarity it's supposed to be with solidarity with the Palestinian issue, and so this is why it's called Jerusalem Day. So they're out there. Of course, this year it took on a little different turn, and instead of being solidarity with the Palestinians, it was about the present war, and they were chanting "Death to America, death to Israel." Meanwhile, to the backdrop of this protest, Israel had begun another bombing run on Tehran, and there were bombs dropping near the demonstrations, not on the demonstrations, near the demonstrations. So now I just heard somebody saying that these protests actually, or these demonstrations, when it looks like when there's a lot of people out there, that the regime drags out the families of prisoners and also foreigners that, like minority groups or foreigners in the land so it looks like there's more people out there. So, and we know that the regime does deal in a lot of propaganda. So anyway, there is obviously a lot of news. I think if you're in America, you know more than I do about what the latest is with America. In fact, I don't really get a lot of the American news, like what they're doing, what their missions are, what their targets are, and I only hear a couple of statements, usually by President Trump. Now, I know that the Secretary of War, Pete Hegseth, said today that when the Revolutionary Guards and the Iranian regime look up, they see only two things on the side of the plane: the Stars and Stripes and the Star of David. And he also said, I think it was he that said that it's only about to get worse with the strikes. But I don't know what the Americans are doing. I only hear that in the end that they have sunk 50 naval vessels, maybe more. But as far as the bombing runs over Iran, I don't know. Now, there was a plane crash, an American plane that crashed in Iraq. And I don't, at this point, they said there are some Iraqi militias that took credit for that, but America said that they have not determined the cause of the crash. And they said it wasn't due to friendly or hostile fire. So all 6 crew members were killed. So now there has been no loss of life of the Israeli military in this war with Iran. Yes, in Lebanon, there are 2 Israeli soldiers were killed in Lebanon against Hezbollah. But as far as the bombing runs go, so far, Israel has not recorded any deaths. And I think America now is up to 13. Iran, I don't know the numbers. I've seen numbers thrown out there, like hundreds or thousands, but I have no way to confirm them, so I'm not going to. But I also just wanted to talk about what a regional war this is, because this is not like, let's say, when it was Israel and Hamas in Gaza, and it was a very localized, concentrated war that lasted for a while, also including Hezbollah, firing from Lebanon and the Houthis in Yemen. But then there was also Israel Iran for 12 days in June of last year. Again, like very straightforward, Israel Iran. Now, this one started out with three countries: US, Israel, Iran, but very quickly spread to more than a dozen countries. And now we're looking at 15 or 16 countries that have somehow been directly affected by, or, whether attacked, whether intentionally or unintentionally. There have been, there are at least 15 countries involved, and it might be 16. I have to go check my list again. But this is vast. And that is also, so it's, I'm thinking about this also as a journalist, and how things are really different now in terms of sourcing and getting information. And, for instance, is it important for you? Like, let's say you're in North America, and do you know that two people were killed in Oman from an Iranian strike yesterday? I don't know if you know that. I don't know if you need to, like, what is the need to know in terms of like the whole conflict altogether? There was also a tower in Dubai in the financial district that was hit by a drone today, either this morning or last night. And again, this is something that the rest of the world is not going to hear. And I am sure there's much more going on in these countries that I don't know. Like, for instance, Bahrain has been hit a lot. How can we find that out? How would we know unless we like accidentally swerved into a headline that told us that? So there's a lot going on. This is very hard to contain in a way, because it's not just dealing with this one small geographic plot of land. Like, even when it was, Israel that had, yes, the Gaza front and the northern front and the Houthis firing from Yemen, but still it was contained within Israel, like small state, as opposed to now you're looking at from the Mediterranean Sea all the way to the Persian Gulf and many countries in between, and then extending up north to the Caucasus, and then extending into the Mediterranean Sea into Cyprus. So it's just dragged in so many countries on different levels. Now, as far as the countries that are actually fighting, it still is limited to country wise, like official governments, just three: US, Israel, and Iran. None of the Gulf states have retaliated. Like, they have condemned, they have expressed disappointment, they have even expressed that this is betrayal by Iran, to us, your brothers, but nobody has retaliated. The only one who has come close to looking like he might take military action is Erdogan in Turkey. Turkey just last night, a third missile from launched by Iran was shot down over Turkey by NATO this time, but this was the third. And so Turkey is the one country that has been, looking like pretty close to getting involved if they were going to get involved. The other one that has come close to mobilizing forces is Aliyev in Azerbaijan, because Azeri territory was also hit by two Iranian drones. Now, Iran says that they did not, we didn't do it. Either we didn't do it or it was an accident, and but still the threats by Turkey and Azerbaijan were targeted toward Iran. Like, no, 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 you shot, don't you shoot at us. And Turkey has mobilized units to the border to presumably to, to they share a border with Iran, but presumably to, check out defensive or offensive measures. That was a couple days ago. So I don't know where that stands now, but so this is so all of this region, and you've got so far the three countries involved. You have Turkey dipping its toes in the water, but not necessarily getting in. Then the other entities are that have dragged in countries are Hezbollah in Lebanon is basically has set all of southern Lebanon into a frenzy. Like 800,000 people evacuated in southern Lebanon from Christian villages, from Shiite villages, from everywhere, and then also in Beirut, the capital. There, Israel's bombing runs are turning the Dahia neighborhood, which is like associated. It's like a Hezbollah stronghold neighborhood. They're turning it into Gaza. Like it looks like if you've seen pictures of what happened to the Gaza Strip, it looks like Beirut equals Gaza right now. It's unbelievable. So, all right. And then also the Iraqi militias are very active in also like they're not representing the government, but they're very active in fighting with Iran. They have shot at the French military base. A French soldier was killed. Also, they have attacked the American embassy, other American assets, military bases in Iraq. So that is where you see like the Iranian proxies getting involved and dragging the countries into a war situation or in conflict, but limited to what they're doing and where they are. Like for instance, Hezbollah, but of course, innocent people get killed in the crossfire. In fact, so a French soldier, so French are not involved. So I don't really, and I haven't looked up or researched exactly how it is, why it was it an accident that they hit the French base? Was it targeted? Like, I don't know. So the other proxy that we're waiting to hear from is the Houthis. And today I thought they finally made their decision because we got, like on you see on the news, like, okay, a launch has been detected and it said to Eilat. And Eilat is the southernmost city in Israel. It's like it's on the Red Sea, and at the bottom of the Red Sea is Yemen, and that's where that's their flight path for their missiles from the Houthis. So I was like, oh my gosh, it must be the Houthis, but they said it was Iran. I didn't look at the map to see how that works. It could work. So anyway, but nothing happened out of that. Now, is Raya home? At 9:03. How amazing. All right. So just now we had an alert, and there was the missiles were going toward Tel Aviv, toward the west of the country. And from here, we heard, like, you can start to tell the difference now of like what you're hearing and what's happening. And we can hear a lot of the stuff that happens like above you is an interception. Now, first, also, you can hear the missile. I think it's the missile going by. Sounds like a plane. Presumably anyway, because it is flying at a velocity. And we don't have planes going over us in Jerusalem in any case. So heard that, and then there was like a thud, as opposed to, I don't know how you would describe the interceptions overhead. And sure enough, it landed, or I don't know if it was directly the missile or if it was shrapnel from the missile. So I keep checking my regular channels that usually update such things. Yeah, and it caused like this big fire. Probably can't. Oh, you can see it right there. So I don't know where this is. I don't know if they even said, because there's like, they don't want, it just says in the center of the country because they don't want to put out the exact locations and you know what could happen. Check that out. Look at that fire. It's in the center of the country. And I wonder if that's what we heard. And if that's what we heard, I mean, we're talking, that's probably 20 miles away. I'm thinking. I mean, I don't know because I don't have the exact, but so yeah, so so no injuries have been reported, or at least like definitely no casualties at the moment. So anyway, that's
You talk about the missile that fell close to Daniel's school, not the parts of it.
ooh. Oh wow, I don't know if you can see this because again, it's from my phone and there's, but that's firefighters on top of the building. No, sorry, it just doesn't work like that. Too bad, reflections and all. So there was a shrapnel from a missile that landed yesterday at a playground in Jerusalem. My kids heard that because they were not in the bomb shelter yet, though they should have been. The one who was at her friend's house.
Yeah.
So they heard that fall, and it turns out it was in a park across from my son's school. So okay, what else do we have here? Um, oh wow, that might be it. I think I just did like I just went rushing through all the news, and that's it. Um, some Oh wait, let's see. Somebody, Talene from New York. You said it very well. What do we need to know? There are so many moving pieces to digest. Every single life lost is one too many. Unfortunately, many countries that want nothing to do with that have been dragged in without choice. I've been to all of these countries in peaceful times and I cannot believe I totally agree. I've also been to quite a few of these countries, and I love Bahrain. Like that was such a great experience to be there. I was also in the UAE, but they really are maintaining some kind of um, composure in a way, of not retaliating. I've read some analysis about that it could be that they don't, if they retaliate and then let's say the war doesn't end up toppling the regime, they still have to deal with that regime as their neighbor. And Iran is the biggest country right there, and it's right across the Gulf from these very small countries. Like Bahrain is like a dot on the map. When you put up the map, the word Bahrain is bigger than it covers the country. So yeah, they are being very cautious in how they approach this, but they are still getting attacked. Like for instance, Oman was the country that was actually hosting the negotiations between Iran and the US just last week. They hosted in Oman and then in Switzerland, but they were like the mediators. And now they're getting hit by Iran. They're also Here's another interesting tidbit, is that these countries, these Gulf countries, are actually responsible for 30% of fertilizer produced in the world, like in the whole world. Global fertilizer, 30% comes from the Gulf. Now, why is that important? Because, like, what do I know about? I'm from New York. Like, I don't know anything about fertilizer. Now, I was asking about, like, for an article I did, was asking about food supplies. Like, we're talking about energy, and everybody keeps asking me about energy and oil and gas and stuff like that. And I'm like, yeah, I don't really know. I haven't really, that has not been my focus. So, but I was wondering though, well, what about food? Because the countries in the Gulf, they don't really have a lot of farmlands. They're deserts, right? So they import I think 80% of their food. So if the Strait of Hormuz is blocked and if all these waterways are blocked, so we're talking about energy getting out and oil getting out, and a lot of these what Iran is hitting as well in these countries is energy. So they're hitting like their gas refineries and their oil and stuff like that. So all right, so obviously that's an obvious problem for fuel, right? But then I was like, well, what about food? And it turns out, following like like pulling the thread on the sweater, let's say, that these countries are responsible for fertilizer. And that matters because it is about to be planting season. And so not only is it an issue of like imports for them to get the food into the Gulf, but it's also an issue of exports. And now it's going to be impacted by like the price of fuel will then go up in transporting the fertilizer, but it's also that the fertilizer right now is not getting out. So let's say it gets out, it's still going up in price. The fertilizer is going up because now it costs more to ship it. So now it costs farmers more to buy it. And guess what? That is eventually is going to impact the consumer on the price of food. So that's one thing. But also, again, like don't quote me on this. I'm not a chemist, but the gas is burned to make like urea and ammonia or something like that, and then those are the components of fertilizer. So these things there's like teen rage going on in the background, and I cannot even, what is going on?
I don't know.
Oh my gosh, I'm sorry, like losing my focus because it's like rage, like you could just feel it, like forget the missiles. It's like we got other things to worry about, like whew, okay. Yeah. So anyway, so apparently you burn like natural gas and then you create the other things. And then these other things are what comprises the fertilizer. So now if the gas is being blown up, the gas refinery facility, whatever is being blown up, then they can't even burn it. So in any case, when the article's published, which makes more sense than what I just said now, I'll post it and then you can read it. But for now, there's going to be a food issue as well for the people there, but also for the people around the world. Now, the Gulf states have said that they have like 6 months supply of reserves, so they're not concerned at the moment. But anyway, I think that's anyway. Oh my gosh. Okay. Celine says, wait, about the snacks. As a parent, what happens to the kids' school? Oh, yeah, thanks for asking. And oh God, the snacks. So yeah, the snacks is like, we raised the white flag a long time ago. And the best is I realized that also buying snacks, it's not even sometimes about like the eating of the snacks. It's just the going to buy them. It's just going to like, burn your money or something. I don't know. So it's just like, okay, we bought snacks, but now they're still there in the closet. But anyway, but I'm sure we'll need to go buy new ones. So I think it's just become a thing to do when boredom sets in, because in answer to your other question, there is no school. Now, funny thing, today, as we sat in the bomb shelter, my neighbor told me, because we had a missile alert today. So a neighbor told me that they're saying in the news that they're going to do like a traffic light, what's mitve, like a system that red, you don't go to school, yellow maybe, green definitely. And so they said, oh, we're going to do that. That was like at 11 a.m. We're sitting in the bomb shelter, and I don't remember what time it was. If it was like after that, it was after that. But anyway, and she was telling me that, and I'm like, I don't believe it. She goes, I don't believe it either. Sure enough, after we get back upstairs to our apartments, she sends me a message. She said the new messages, the Minister of Education said there's no school for this foreseeable future. I mean, I've heard rumors rumors, I mean, who believes anything, that there will not be school till after Passover. Passover is after Easter, and I think Passover ends on something like the 10th or the something like that, the 10th of April. And um, so you were here, Talene, you were here for Easter in 2023. Well, that's good because there probably is not going to be an Easter 2026 at this rate, because if Easter is happening before Passover and everything's going to be closed down till then, I don't even know what they're going to do. I mean, during COVID, the Holy Sepulchre was like a ghost town. It was unbelievable. They only let the priests in, and then they only let the holy fire out. But yeah, it was just, I mean, it's sad for the pilgrims that can't come, but it's also really sad for the local Christians because they can't. Oh, and Ramadan is right now. Yesterday, or was it today? Anyway, it must have been today. Today's Friday, right? So there's a picture of an empty Al Aqsa, and Dome of the Rock, empty for Ramadan. And this is like the last Friday of Ramadan, which is why it's Al Quds Day in Tehran, the last Friday of Ramadan. And so they're not able to celebrate. It's locked down more or less. So anyway, it's just it's we'll see what they do for Passover, and then we'll see what happens with that. But yeah, thanks for your question. So no school. So they're distance learning. They have like 3 online calls a day. And and when I say distance learning, I mean to say learning and put it in scare quotes. And it's like obviously not so successful. It's not like anybody's going to Harvard after a month of distance learning and plus COVID from a couple years ago. So yeah. And if you need more levity, go read the bit I wrote about Daniel's dentist visit if you haven't yet. I posted that on Facebook and on Substack, so you can check those out. Please subscribe to my Substack as well. That would be great because that'll be just a little bit different. I put out writing and maybe more logical thoughts than I do necessarily in the lives, because I have time to think about them and edit them a million times. So also, if you are on YouTube, it would also be great if you hit like on the video, because then it will get passed around to more people according to the YouTube algorithm. So I've heard. So anyway, okay, that's it. So I don't know if we're in for another quiet night. Usually at this point, there have been like 100 missiles and rockets from Hezbollah. Today, suddenly it's all quiet. Now, is this like the kind of quiet where you say when a baby is quiet, that's when you know like they're in trouble or they're up to no good or something like that? Like, why is it so quiet? It's not quiet in Iran right now because the Israeli military just said they started a new wave of attacks over there. But so far here, except for this one that just happened like about an hour ago, 2 hours ago, nothing. And I don't know why. It's very weird. So the question is, are they planning something, or have Israel and the U.S. totally depleted their weapons? Don't know. But I'm going to go deal with the rage right now, find out what's happening here. You think we can have like protection, like, you know, the Iron Dome from Teen Rage? I don't know. We should just go to bed. Yeah. All right. Great idea. All right. Well, on that note, thank you so much for joining and for interacting. It was a lot.